Morning, folks. Welcome back. Big Talk with Bruce Dickey here on Wabash Catch TV. Guest today is Dave Sands. We've been talking about volleyball. We're going to talk basketball. We're going to talk all kinds of stuff here this morning as Dave has been an official for 25 years. You say
25. Yep.
Why do you think? Why do you say you should have started earlier? Do you think you'd have had a lot more?
I think that if I would have started earlier at a younger age, and I've tried to move up levels, as I go.
You've done Division III basketball.
I worked at Division III is the highest level I've worked. Worked NAIA, but I went to a Division I camp probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
And I refereed on the Big Orange Tee in Tennessee. That was kind of a cool thing.
Nice. That is cool.
We refereed on that. It's a big tryout camp, and when I got done, the guy basically told me that he didn't have a problem with my officiating, but it wasn't what he was looking for. And he basically told me that he had a lot of guys my age and that he need new young people. So
that's fascinating that they wouldn't. Well, I guess they build it up one way or another,
right.
don't they?
Well, he tells me, and I agree. I mean that the powers above him were on him to hire people that look like they just come off the floor playing.
Really?
So they wanted them, mid-20s that looked like they played last year. And
well, I got to tell you, I've seen them. I was at a restaurant one time in St. Louis. Actually, it's New Year's Eve, and the table next to me was three young fellas, and we just happened to strike up a conversation with them. They were in their mid-20s,
yeah,
and they were doing Division I. They had done the SIUE game
right
that afternoon, and were going to be working like a SLU game the next day. And I said, "Good grief, you're 25 years old." He says, "Oh yeah, we started really early."
Right, and the younger guys.
Of course, I think they had parents in the business too.
Well, the younger guys, if they have that look and they think, you got the look, you look good getting up and down the floor, we can make you be an official. We can train you. You're trainable. When you're old and a little overweight, it's hard to. You can't grow back the years,
Which do you prefer officiating more, basketball or volleyball? I mean, is there one that you?
Well,
they're two entirely different things.
Yes, and it's going to sound funny, but I really, really, really like reffing basketball, and I like reffing volleyball. If that makes sense.
Oh, I understand.
Volleyball to me is much harder.
Really?
It's not harder physically; it's harder mentally.
Because I got to tell you, watching volleyball, and I'm assuming that me being basically a fan watching it, I'm assuming that all the other fans feel this way too. Some old guys just standing there on that block, not doing a thing,
exactly.
Just standing there on that stand.
Stand there and blow your whistle.
And wave at somebody like that.
That's what I said. In volleyball, if it's done correctly, you blow your whistle a whole lot more than you do in basketball.
Yeah.
Every time the ball gets touched, you got to make a decision.
Was
that ball? Was it hit correctly?
Catch.
Was it hit correctly? Was it a back row player above the eye of the net? Was the ball above the eye of the net? And did that hitter that hit it off a blocker? You got to make a decision, a split-second decision every time the ball's touched. And when you blow your whistle, you're putting points on the board.
I guess that's right.
In basketball, you're done. If I call a foul on somebody, they still got to go make the free throw.
Right.
So, and in basketball, a lot of things you can run up down the floor and flow of the game. You may go 2, 3, 4 minutes without blowing a whistle.
Well, and also in volleyball, basketball is something that you played, right?
No, not really.
Let me put it this way. You played more basketball than volleyball.
Exactly. I played in grade school. I always joked I was the 13th guy on a 12-man team. So, we went to a tournament and you could only dress 12. I was the one that didn't dress. But I was on the team. And I enjoyed basketball, the sport of basketball. I like everything about it. I played in rec leagues and volleyball, and I enjoyed that too. But just still getting the fact that I was a horrible player in basketball, but yet I could still contribute, and I know the game. Sure. I know the game better now than I ever did when I thought I was playing.
Is that what when you're age 30 and you decide, and your friends talked you into playing? Is that just something that was in the back of your mind, the opportunity to contribute?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. I played on some rec teams, and I had some rec teams that were very good ball players, and they would get a big lead and say, okay, surely you can't screw this up, and I get to play the end of the game. But I got to where I felt like I could contribute throughout the game by officiating, and you start doing a few games, and you really want to start getting better at it.
Yeah.
And I'd say, with some of the clinics and stuff that I do in basketball, I tell these guys are just doing the junior high games and the fresh soft games and the JV game, the lower level games. They're better officials than I am. I can't do them.
Right.
I cannot do them lower. I've reffed the higher games, and the higher up you go, the easier it is to officiate.
Really?
The players are better.
I guess that makes sense.
The play's better. The
play is smoother.
Yeah, it's easier to do. Them younger games, and I know guys that's been reffing as long as I have that's never worked anything other than junior high ball and JV ball. They go do their games, and they're there for the kids, and that's all they want to do. Them guys are a lot better official than I am. I cannot do them games. The last junior high game I done was probably 10 years ago, and the St. Teresa's in Salem called me. I worked a women's college game on Wednesday night. Thursday night, odd night, I actually happened to be home.
Yeah.
And the guy from St. Teresa's calls me at 6 o'clock and says, Dave, are you home? I had an official not show up. I said, well, I'll be there as soon as I can. I'm not going to leave you with just one guy.
Yeah.
I show up, and it's in the first quarter, and
no.
we go along pretty good. Okay, we get through the JV game, start the varsity game, and I get a little kid that gets bumped up at the half court on a steal, and I let the kid go by and goes in and makes a layup, and I got a kid laying at half court crying, and I got a parent in the stands wanting to come out of the stands after me, and I'm like, if I would have made that call and stopped that play in that college game, that coach would have killed me. But here, they were. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't switch back and forth, from one extreme to the other. It's like the guys that do,
more power to them.
Yeah, well, they're much better official than I am. I can tell you.
I love that. I love that I'm just thinking, you do a lot of high school games, and you do some college, and you try to avoid the junior high. Apparently, where are the fans worse? Can fans be bad at all levels, or can fans be good at all levels?
A little of both. I mean, it seems like sometimes at the younger levels, you have trouble with the parent not thinking his kid's the next Michael Jordan.
The parent does think
the parent. Kid. Yeah, they so, and if they think their kid's not getting a fair shake, and
be fair to the kids.
Yeah,
oh gosh, how often have you heard that?
Yeah, let the kids decide the game. And I'm like, well, you got a kid that just fouled a kid on a shot, and you called the foul, and they're like, oh, let him. Well, if I don't call that foul, then I did let the kids decide the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you didn't let it happen. I tell you what,
officiating, it's one of those you got to be perfect from day one and get better.
Yeah. I like that. True. I like that. That's Dave Sands. We're going to come back. We might talk a few horror stories. I like horror stories.
Yeah,
you got a few, I'll bet. We might talk a few horror stories about officiating when we return. You're watching Big Talk with Bruce Dickey. Dave Sands is here. Back in a sec. Having car trouble, need a tow, or just some routine maintenance? Butcher Automotive in Louisville has you covered. Locally owned and operated, Butcher Automotive offers complete vehicle repair services along with tire sales and wheel alignment. They're your local Hankook tire and interstate battery dealer. Butcher Automotive offers free local pickup and delivery so your car can be repaired while you're at work or at home. Butcher strives to treat everyone's vehicle as their own. At Butcher Automotive, they don't want you to give them your business, they want to earn it.
Residents of the Clay County and surrounding area have relied on Clay County State Bank for sound professional service for over 100 years. With convenient lobby and drive-up hours, we are ready to serve you Monday through Saturday. We appreciate all who bank with us, and we look forward to the opportunity of working with anyone who is looking for a community bank to help with their financial needs. Give us a call at 665-3314, visit us online, or stop by and see us on the square in Louisville to experience our friendly personal service.
When you want an honest deal and hometown service without the runaround, go to Lamont Chevrolet Chrysler in Fairfield. Let Gabe McGahey, Sheldon Bunning, Jeff Black, Dennis Downs, Matthew Rogers, or Caleb Dunn score the best deal for you on your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Parts and service departments with factory-trained technicians and express lane and state-of-the-art tire and alignment technology. Le Mans always inspects your battery, antifreeze wipers, and tires for free. We want you prepared for the open road ahead. Open 24/7 at lemansonline.com. You'll like the way we do business.
I thought I'd lost my business in that fire, but my agent was there before the flames were out. He said, together, we're going to rebuild. Our employees depended on it. My independent agent and auto owners made sure we didn't skip a beat. I mean, we didn't miss a single payroll.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there. Auto Owners Insurance. North Wayne Insurance Agency in Flora is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
Does your home show signs of foundation problems? Call the experts at Woods Basement Systems. Our Power Brace system can fix the problem permanently and help protect the value of your home. Call Woods Basement Systems today. Woods, the all things basement-y experts.
Mold, rank air, pests, all getting closer to inside your home. With a dirt crawl space, there's no telling what's below you.
A sealed crawl space locks the nasty stuff out, plus can lower your utility bills. Woods, the all things basement-y experts.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. Big Talk with Bruce Dickey here on Wabash Catch TV. Just talking things over here with Dave Sands. He is an official as in basketball and in volleyball, and a clinician. When I say a clinician, that means you teach other officials, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah, we put on camps, and actually, the IHSA has a program they call Train the Trainer, and you have to go through that, and it's an all day program, and they actually, school teachers make really good clinicians because they're used to being up in front of people trying to teach. But that's basically what that does is they go through and they try to teach you how to get up in front of people and teach them how to officiate.
You said you didn't start till age 30. What is a good age for somebody to start officiating, you think?
Well, I believe they've lowered it now to 16. You can get licensed at 16.
For high school?
You can get an IHSA license at 16.
Wow.
And I know a handful of kids that was their job in college.
Is that right?
They would go get their license, and you're an independent contractor mostly. You can pick and choose, People call you, go work some junior high games. Go work a couple junior high games a week and make $100, and
that's a nice way that'll buy your pizza.
Well, yeah, it's better than some jobs.
Yeah, well, yeah. If kids or families, if like they're probably parents watching or grandparents for that matter, watching, and they know somebody that age, what's the best way to get a kid started? Maybe down that path.
Well, the IHSA on their website, ihsa.org, has an application you fill out. It says to become an official, and you fill out the application. You get a couple of references from a school athletic director or certified officials, and they send them in, and you pay your money, and you're basically take a test every year, and you're basically a licensed official.
That's the interesting thing. Now, I'm glad my mom doesn't probably realize, but when I was at the University of Illinois, I took courses for both football and basketball. Easiest A's I ever got. It was just great. But I was learning to officiate at the university. You don't have to go through a big long class.
No, nope.
Just
not in Illinois. Not in Illinois. You have to take the open book test, and you have to attend a clinic, and which basically a lot of the clinics is put on whenever they have the schools do their summer camps in the summer, and the officials will show up and we'll actually go through things on the floor and learn your mechanics and judgments. It's hard to teach judgment. Some people just kind of catch it real quick, and a lot of it over time, you get a little better.
That's something though that I've tended to notice about most officials, and of course now there are in every avocation or hobby or something like that, you'll find people who aren't like the rest of them. But for the most part, officials, you help each other.
Exactly.
That's part of the gig, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, players are going to help each other. And I had a guy tell me this a long time ago, and it kept with me, and I really like it. He said, good teams get better for the work they do in the off season.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for officials.
Really?
Yeah. Officials that you can't show up the first day of opening day of the season. It's the first time you've seen a basketball or a volleyball or
No.
a football or anything.
Yeah.
That can't be the first time you've seen the ball that year since last season.
Right.
So, good officials are going to get better for the work they put in the off season. It's,
Do you look at films and stuff like that, or
yeah, I know some guys are really good at breaking down film and watching it. It's very hard for me to watch myself on film, but I've had some film. I have some buddies of mine that will actually break it down for me, and I've had pages and pages of legal pad wrote down, such and such time and this and that, and you go through and look through it, and
I've always wondered kind of how the AHSA works. I know that schools fill out a report. Do they fill out a report for every game, or
the head coach is supposed to fill out an evaluation. You get a rating. You get a rating for every varsity game.
And do officials do the same thing?
No, we used to be able to, but they took that away from us. Well, you know how officials are.
Yes, I do.
They're going to help each other way too much. But the rating part is also one of our, I think there's 6 now, that of criteria that they base on what your postseason assignments are.
Yeah.
You get your ratings, and then you get the coaches fill out a top 15 list, and then you're certified and your clinics and blah blah blah. But that we used to be able to that the certified officials could rate other officials.
Oh, really?
And you could give your buddy good ratings and get his ratings up, and there was some guy that could do that, and it's like, how am I going to rate all these other officials when I'm reffing myself every night? So anyhow, but we had some officials that were abusing it, so they took it away from us.
There's the occasional that in all things. Okay. Where are fans? Where are you more likely to find a crazy nut fan, in the volleyball or in basketball?
Oh, definitely basketball.
Really?
Yeah, and volleyball is getting to where the fans are starting to show up more than they used to.
Right.
They're enjoying the game. I mean, they've missed on. I think it's a very, very active game anymore.
Yeah.
The players are bigger, stronger.
Rally scoring, changes.
The rally scoring, and it's such a fast-paced game compared to what. And if you get 2 really good teams that are just pounding the ball at each other, you're missing a good game. A lot of fans are starting to see that. I think when I first started, we still had to 15, and it was the let serves and stuff, and that you don't have now. So, and it was kind of boring, and you could still get some of them boring games. I call them almost the old family picnic volleyball, where it's just bump back and forth over the net, but them are far and few between nowadays. You get a lot of the bump set spikes now and the digs and.
Okay, in basketball, who are nuttier, just the parents or the students? As fans go.
As fans, the students can get pretty rowdy. Some schools, they have a really good student sections.
Some
they have their
sections
cheers.
Are organized.
Yeah, they have the cheers, and they do it really well. And then you have some that you got to watch your back, because you never know if one of them's going to come out on the floor at you.
Really?
Yeah, there's places where you almost feel like it gets that tense sometime that that guy may come watch my back here sometimes.
Well, I would think that just seems like if now granted, I guess there's always people think that there's home court advantage and that kind of thing.
Home court advantage,
which makes no sense, especially if you have a violent, loud, or rowdy crowd.
Right.
You would think that would turn an official off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You think that you're always thinking in the back of your mind. I'm to the point, I don't know whether I've done it long enough or I've just always had that mentality that, I just let it roll off my back. Yeah. But there's sometimes you hear people say stuff and you almost laugh out loud sometimes, like, really? Yeah. Sometimes I think that they get caught up in the moment and they don't realize what they're saying.
I think that's true.
And I had a timeout one time in a game. And timeout, I'm standing at the end line holding the ball, and the cheerleaders there, and a couple of cheerleaders were volleyball players.
Sure.
So I'm chatting with the volleyball players that were cheerleaders, and we're in a timeout. I'm holding the ball where I'm going to put it in play. Okay, we get ready to put it back in play. I hand the ball. Kid throws the ball, makes a pass. Kid comes barreling through the middle and just runs over somebody. I call an offensive foul on him, and all the place goes nuts. And a dad up in the stands says, he's too busy talking to cheerleaders to make that call. And I look up there and kind of grin at him a little bit, like, really? And his wife just gives him the best Ric Flair shop I ever seen. I mean, she whacks him, and he says, shut up, and whacks him, and he just kind of puts his head down, and then so, I'm like, I didn't have to. He embarrassed himself, and a lot of times, like I said, I think they just get caught up in a moment, and they don't realize what they did say.
Do you ever toss a fan, or how often? I've reffed with these guys that walk in and it's like, well, I've had 15 technicals the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, I haven't had 15 technicals in my whole career. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. There are some officials who have let's call it larger rabbit ears than others.
Right. Well, there is no doubt about that. Yes.
The rabbit ears is a recognized term.
Yes, and it definitely is. And you try to turn it off. And as an official, I've never tossed a fan.
No kidding.
No, I went over and talked to the school administrator and say, hey, would you go watch the guy in the red flannel over there?
Yeah.
And then if he gets out of line, it's time for him to go.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times that's all you need to do.
Well, yeah, they see the administrator.
They see that. And of course, horror story, we were at Florida last year before last, and we had a fan that was right behind the bench that was mouthing and pointing at us.
Yeah.
And went over and Bobby went over and talked to him, and he mouthed off to Bobby, so, he got escorted out.
I think I was at that game.
You might have been. And Bobby goes,
I remember Bobby doing that.
Yeah, he says he's not a first-time offender.
Talking about Bobby McNeil, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. You guys, you get to know the athletic directors and the administrators, and you count on them as much as they're counting on you, aren't they?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. They're in charge. We're in charge of what goes on inside the square.
Right.
Everything out there is theirs.
Yeah.
And if we have an issue with something going on in their part of the gym,
right,
that's their problem. We'll go tell them, hey, we got an issue. Go tell them they can go home, watch the rest of it on ESPN, whatever. But, as far as what goes on the floor, they've hired us to do a job, and hopefully we do a job good enough that we don't have to have them, insert themselves in our problems, and hopefully there's nothing goes on that we have to insert into their problems.
Did you ever see one? Have you ever been to a game where you thought there was going to be maybe some commotion, or years ago, Cairo had their issues with Metropolis,
right.
Or pardon, with Meridian, and that has gone on. And have you ever been in that kind of situation where you saw something?
Well, we was talking off camera a while ago. The game I had at Marion a couple years ago, I had Marion and Centralia, varsity boys game.
Good teams, though.
Very good teams, and two really good coaches.
Yeah.
And both of them know what they can and can't get away with, and they stand on the line all night long.
Right.
And Marion coach was a little upset that he didn't think his star player was getting calls, and we're like, well, he's not getting the calls with us tonight. We're calling it same on both ends. And at the end of the game, when you look at the foul totals, it was way lopsided. But if you look where the fouls were, it got lopsided at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Of course, they were
Somebody's
fouling on purpose.
Foul to come back.
And the technical fouls that he got added on to them fouls. But whenever he got his second technical, my partners both gave him both the technicals, so I'm the mediator that's trying to, keep telling my partner to get the other end of the floor.
He's had 2 technical fouls, so he's got to leave anyway.
He's leaving.
I mean, that's an automatic ejection.
I'm holding the ball, standing at center court, and he comes right out to me. He's got his 3 or 4 teammates with him, and an assistant trying to hold him back. And the athletic director comes, and he gets in there, and he looks at the athletic director and says, "This is horrible. These guys are horrible." And the athletic director looks at me, and I said, he goes, "Dave, I got to admit, this don't look very good." And I said, "I don't care if we're the worst 3 guys that's ever officiated in the world. He can't act the way he's acting."
That's right.
And I am talking any louder to him right now. I said, "You need to get him off the floor." And he's right in my face. You can look it up on the internet. It's one of the pictures that comes up one of the first pictures comes up of Marion coach ejected. And I'm standing in the center court with him and his finger in my face, And I'm like, I said, Ryan, I don't care if we're the worst guys that's ever had a whistle in our mouth. He can't act the way he's
You can't
acting.
do that.
I said, he needs to leave before he causes more problems.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the kind of activity. That's the kind of behavior that's going to get the fans.
Well, when
going
he got his first technical, they had a ball player down there that's really, really good scorer. Drive, he throws up stuff and wants bailed out.
Sure.
Very good. Good ball players do that. And we weren't calling it. And he got his first technical complaining about that. And he gets technical and go over and tell him he has to sit down. And he turns around to the fans, and is giving them one of these and getting them excited. And I'm like, you don't need that.
Don't need that.
And like I said, they're a great coach.
Yeah.
You just get caught up in the moment.
I'll be doggone. I'll tell you what, that's Dave Sands. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more. He got a big award, and we're going to show that, as well as talk about his other hobby that he does. I don't know when you have time.
I know.
He always has the one of the biggest holiday stuff in Salem area. Back right after this. Stick around.
Make Carnaby Square in downtown Fairfield your fashion leader. We're the little boutique with the big inventory of beautiful, trendy outfits and clothing in a wide array of your favorite name brands. And don't forget our large selection of jewelry and accessories. Carnaby Square is Southern Illinois' largest dealer of Brighton. At Carnaby Square, we take pride in our one-on-one, knowledgeable customer service and look forward to helping you create your own special look. Plus, always free gift wrapping. Find endless gift ideas 24/7 at carnabysquare.com and on our Facebook page. Shop the fashion leader in downtown Fairfield, Carnaby Square.
When it comes to your banking, you have as many options as colors in the crayon box. That's why you can bank your way at Teutopolis State Bank. What works best for you may be different from what works best for your neighbor. Teutopolis State Bank is built to serve all your banking needs, whether it's online banking, mobile check deposit, text banking, or just stopping in to see them at one of their 3 convenient locations. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender, it's Teutopolis State Bank. Banking made personal since 1913.
Napa know-how.
At Flora Auto Parts, you can count on the Napa know-how experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, your locally owned Napa store carries a large inventory of parts for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced counter people understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa know-how at Flora Auto Parts.
When you want an honest deal and hometown service without the runaround, go to Lamont Chevrolet Chrysler in Fairfield. Let Gabe McGahey, Sheldon Bunning, Jeff Black, Dennis Downs, Matthew Rogers, or Caleb Dunn score the best deal for you on your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Parts and service departments with factory-trained technicians and express lane and state-of-the-art tire and alignment technology. Lamont's always inspects your battery, antifreeze, wipers, and tires for free. We want you prepared for the open road ahead. Open 24/7 at LaMonsOnline.com. You'll like the way we do business.
In 1916, Warren Miller chose Auto Owners Insurance. Later, his son made the same choice, as did his grandson. And today, his great-granddaughter did the same. As we reflect on where we've been, we're grateful to our independent agents and to those who have put their trust in us, and to the generations who will. Auto Owners Insurance.
Harrison Insurance in Louisville is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
Does your home show signs of foundation problems? Call the experts at Woods Basement Systems. Our power brace system can fix the problem permanently and help protect the value of your home. Call Woods Basement Systems today. Woods, the all things basement-y experts.
Mold, rank air, pests, all getting closer to inside your home. With a dirt crawl space, there's no telling what's below you.
A sealed crawl space locks the nasty stuff out, plus can lower your utility bills. Woods, the all things basement-y experts.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. Big Talk with Bruce Dickey. We'll wrap things up here with Dave Sands as we are talking officiating as well as all kinds of other fun stuff. Again, there's a need, a gigantic need for officials, aren't there?
Definitely. We need young officials. And, a lot of young officials, what we need is young officials that will get into it and stay.
Yeah.
we get a lot of them. They'll come in 1 or 2 years, and they're like, "Nah, this ain't for me," and they leave. And it's hard to get them to stay after that first couple of years. It's actually the sad thing is when they first start and they start working them junior high games and some of them, fresh soft games. Them's the hardest games to work, and anything that will go wrong in a junior high game.
I guess that's
right. I mean, you're gonna see stuff happen in them games that you won't see in a boys varsity game or a girls varsity game.
I hadn't really thought about that. I'm just thinking about the number of held balls. Just the
jump ball. That's a junior high game. Oh my gosh! You see that a lot.
Just awful. All right, you won an award when was this? You got a picture there.
That's 2014 in volleyball, the official of the year in volleyball in 2014.
How did you? What did you do to win that?
I just officiated.
You didn't turn down any games.
No. I don't remember ever turning down any games. But they do that every year. The IHSA recognizes official of the year in every sport.
Okay.
And basically they ask associations to turn in names, and then they go through the names and and then they actually choose. The IHSA chooses themselves, and I did not even know my association had turned my name in, and I get a letter from the IHSA, congratulating me. And
that's nice.
So we went
Congratulations.
up. You go up to the officials conference. They have an official conference every year, and they call your name out and give you the plaque. And it's really, really nice.
If you haven't, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been to a volleyball game, there's where Dave is at the volleyball game. He's basically standing on a. How high are you up there? The net is 8 feet. Is that right?
No, the net's 7'4" and a quarter.
7 foot. And by golly, it better be
a quarter.
It better be 7'4" and a quarter.
Yeah, it's 7'4" and a quarter. And
is it the same way for boys too?
No, the boys is 7'11" and 5/8. Yeah, I know.
Wait a second.
It is.
Why don't they just go ahead and make it 8 feet tall?
I have no idea, but that's what.
The 3/8 of an inch makes that big a difference.
It does for a short guy like me, but why I don't know. I don't know if that comes out equal perfect on a metric system or something. I have no idea.
Well, that may match.
That may be something.
That may match the Olympic or something.
But 7'4" and a quarter for the girls and 7'11" and 5/8 for the boys is, and that's what the co-rec also plays.
Do you run volleyball, or do you officiate any boys volleyball? I know that there's a little bit in the Metro East.
The Metro East has it, and I had a guy I worked with several years ago, worked a few games over there, and I rode with him one time and watched, and I was like, back then it looked like basketball players trying to play volleyball. Yeah. And they were dunking and stuff like it. It might as well have been dunking. They're just palming the ball and doing like that. But, it's getting bigger. I mean,
I would expect we'll have some of that around here.
I'm surprised we don't already. The old Title IX for girls, when you start talking about it, they had to have the same. Well, if you look anymore now, the girls has one more sport than boys do on about every list. Yeah. And if you move volleyball over on, it equals them out. But
tell me what you do as your hobby around Christmas season.
Oh well, I don't know if it's a hobby. It's more of a passion, more or less. We put up a lot of Christmas lights.
Dave has a 7 acres. You'll put the Christmas lights on?
Probably 5 to 7. Yeah, definitely.
And I've got a couple of pictures. I don't know which ones I have here.
That's one we put up. That was on the side of the garage.
How big is that?
That is probably, it's 9 foot tall and about 20 foot wide.
And that's done with just lights, right?
Yes. That's just strings of lights. And then around the top was the overhang of the garage there. So that was just one side. I like that picture. That was something new we done this year.
That's pretty cool. I'd say you made yourself a nice little American flag out there. Yeah. And this is the.
Yeah, that's just coming up the drive and looking towards one corner, and that was a labor of love.
How many lights do you have?
I don't know. I don't count lights. I know the big blow-ups this year, because I just took them down last week. We had 63 in the yard this year of them. And the lights, but we put lights on every tree.
Okay, time out. I had my first big blow up this year, and it was about 3 feet tall. Where do you store these things?
Well, my wife seems to think that every time we get more stuff, we have to buy another shed. So, we have probably 3 or 4 of the large, 10 by 12 or 10 by 16 sheds. It's nothing but Christmas decoration.
Do you have, and this is just you, I mean, or do you have help putting all this
me
stuff?
and my wife and her 2 best friends help us, and the 4 of us, we take I always joke, I take off the week before Thanksgiving and the week of Thanksgiving, and that's my 2-week workcation. And we're in the yard from 8 o'clock in the morning till after dark every day.
And you don't tear down, or you don't leave anything up, do you?
No. And that's one thing. We live in the middle of the woods there, and we spend about as much time trying to get the leaves and get the yard cleaned up so we can start putting stuff out. So we spend, the month of November, we spend every spare moment.
Well, looking at that picture, looking at those are not evergreens. Those are leafy trees.
Yeah, they're big oak trees. That's middle big oak woods there.
Oh my heavens! Yeah. How much? So you think you've spent about 2 weeks putting it up, huh?
Oh, at least, yeah. We spend a good 2 weeks. Almost every day. If the weather's nice, it helps.
And you don't charge anything for folks to come out and drive around, do you?
No. My driveway, you come up the hill and you go down, and my driveway's at the bottom of the hill, and it kind of comes up and makes a big circle, and it goes back down. And we even got a sign to make a circle, and we even got it where as you're driving up, you have some things facing them going up and then facing them when they're going down. We have a lot of the big wooden cutout stuff that's hand cut that we cut out, and
how long have you been doing this?
Well, out where I'm at now, I've lived there now 11 years, so I've done it for 11 years there. We used to live in town, and I had a house and a separate house, and my mother-in-law's who we got started, and my mother-in-law really liked the Christmas lights, and my father-in-law, he wasn't much on Christmas lights, so when he passed, my mother-in-law was like, I'm putting up Christmas lights.
Doggone it.
And yeah, exactly. So anyhow, she ended up living in the house next door to us, and she would sit in the window and actually watch me put Christmas lights up. Great. I'd decorate the 2 houses and the yards, and she's passed now, and we moved out to the country, and it seemed like every year it's we get bigger and bigger, and it's
that's a labor of love.
Well, every year I say I'm not doing it, and then all year long I'll run into somebody, I took my kids or I took my grandkids out there 3 or 4 times, and we really enjoyed it, thank you. And I'm like, well, I wasn't going to do it next year, but I guess I'm doing it again
I guess
year.
You are. Dave, thank you very much for coming over and spending time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Do it anytime.
I appreciate it.
Thanks very much. That's Dave Sands. I'm Bruce Dickey. Hey, folks, thanks for watching Big Talk with Bruce Dickey. See you next time. Have a great day.